One of the nice things also about us is we have this idea of the Royal Treasury Community Wallet. 10% of all primary and secondary sales from our sister brand will go into the Treasury for life. We have fantasy football leagues, games. We have an English Premier League, so soccer. We do a ton of free roll poker, no surprise in terms of a community. And then our future will also have a DAO token component. We have some really great giveaways. We're in the middle of something we call our 100 days of giving. We really designed our NFTs as something you could and will hang on a wall.
How's it going, everyone? You are tuning into our second segment from the Multi-Chain NFT Summit, part of our DeFi Direct Discord week. We are lucky enough to have a chat with Zeev Klein, the founder of Royal Society of Players. And this project is an NFT collection that really focuses and has an onus on community. This collection features one-of-one decks that are tickets to the Royal Society of Players community. The project has already done some events and is really looking to just get started. As Zeev most eloquently puts it, think of it as a SOHO House meets an AMEX Black Card. Or at least that's the hopes and goals of the projects which they are working towards. I'll let Zeev dive into the rest here for us.
So just wanted to acknowledge the prior speaker. I think he did an amazing job, and thank you so much for having me. As mentioned in the introduction, Royal Society of Players, an Ethereum-based project, very much an NFT focused on utility. And so just a little bit about us in terms of an organization. I think there's some pretty special things here. So first and foremost, we're really a social community offering perks, prizes, and privileges across the metaverse and the real world. So we're essentially using playing cards as kind of like your social pass, so to speak. One of the things that inspired us as we use the back of mind, we imagine this as something like a SOHO House meets like an AMEX Black Card. 10,000 handmade NFTs, and we used a world-renowned playing card designer named Omar. If anyone has ever customized a deck or is familiar with kind of the world of both magic cards and playing cards, Omar is a really famous individual. We launched July 2021, which is crazy, about 4 or 5 months ago. We've had more than 15 million in secondary. We're truly a global community. We have members in the US, Europe, and Asia. I mean, we have a very active Discord. We have more than 10,000 members and nearly 10,000 on Twitter and growing quite rapidly. A couple things I just want to say about us, which I think is really important to lay out. I respect and have deep admiration for a lot of projects, but there are a couple special things that make us different. First and foremost, we are a fully doxed team. We are 8 full-time people on payroll, 401k, benefits, etc. That includes front and back end developers, marketing partnerships, community leads. Our ambition is we'll probably aim to double that in the next year. So we'll be somewhere around 15 or 16 full-time people. And so that's really just been important to us. We're really building a bit of a platform, maybe perhaps even an empire. Behind the scenes, there's even a larger 60-person organization, and that offers support in terms of finance, legal, tech, marketing, ops, events, and just related business services. Part of that goes into some of the things that we have coming up in the future. Myself and some of our colleagues and partners around the table have really deep relationships with Fortune 500 athletes, celebrities, media, and then social impact philanthropy, which has always been important for us. And you know, the business that I come from called Landmark Ventures, which I founded 20 years ago, I've kind of made the public commitment to Royal Society that I've been at my Landmark Ventures role for 20 years, and I'm committed to Royal Society here for the next 20 years. We aren't going anywhere. It's something that is, you know, deeply meaningful to me and deeply meaningful to the people around us. And I just wanted to say that where I know in this day and age, there is a decent amount of, you know, rug pulls or anonymous devs or anonymous teams. We're really the opposite of that. And you'll see why in a moment, but it's been always important for us to just dox ourselves, for lack of a better term, operate and speak in the first person. Well-resourced, well-staffed, and well-executed team. We've always talked about this idea of kind of 2 key areas of focus. We have our 2 keys in our logo. We sometimes say 1 key is the metaverse, 1 key is the real world. We've also kind of thought of ourselves in this duality of 2 different keys, 2 areas of focus, 1 kind of being fun and 1 being finance. And so on the fun side, we do a lot with regards to kind of sports and fantasy. We have fantasy football leagues, games. We have an English Premier League, so soccer. We do a ton of free roll poker, no surprise in terms of a community based on playing cards. We have games very frequently, including some larger prize tournaments and some smaller prize tournaments. Actually, just about to announce a leadership series where we're going to have this point system, which will be a really fun way to engage our community. Really, a lot of this to us is about friendship and community, real world relationships, real world connections. Started off with a $100,000 community wallet where we allow people to apply for local grants, community grants of $1,000 to host in their local cities. And one of the most um, things that I enjoy greatly is where people in my community come back and say, hey, I met so and so either in the real world or on Discord. We became friends, we become buddies. And a lot of that is also based on this undertone of real world events, real world meetups. The finance side, I do think of us as a community that likes to talk about money and likes to think about how we can generate financial success together. Part of that is our NFT Alpha channel. We recognize that a lot of groups offer that, and it's something that's really key and pillar to us. A lot of folks have gone ahead and joined co-investments, not with us, but there's a subgroup called the Eternals. They've made their own DAO. A lot of people share what they're minting, why they're minting, slicing and dicing different crypto, et cetera, et cetera. That comes down to this community where we want to be able to support each other and uplift each other. My background is closer to venture capital, and as a result, I had the opportunity to be involved with and see a lot of angel investment opportunities. And so we opened up an angel investment channel. I'm an LP in a bunch of funds. I'm personally an angel in a bunch of Web3, blockchain, and crypto deals. Where it's appropriate, I upload or include different deals. We don't make any money. We're not financially, we don't have a vested interest in that channel, for lack of a better term. We're just sharing opportunities. And if people are interested, it's been some great exposure. And personally, I'm an investor in Zed and Sandbox. I'm an investor in Matic, Polygon, et cetera, et cetera. One of the nice things also about us is we have this idea of the Royal Treasury Community Wallet. At the moment, it's about $1 million, which is really great and growing quite rapidly. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then our future will also have a DAO token component. We're working with legal counsel as we speak just to get that organized. So we have a bunch of member benefits. I'm just going to flash a couple super quick, and then I'll sit back and do a little bit of Q&A. But just wanted to give our community a sense in terms of some of the things that we offer. One of them, which I think is a really important place to start, is fine art. We really designed our NFTs as something you could and will hang on a wall. We've already had a number of people print these out, et cetera. These are Twitter backgrounds and Zoom backgrounds that we've kind of essentially offered or made. And so people use this as actual genuine art. And I'm sure in the future, we're going to see this type of art in hotels and restaurants and in kind of personal offices and homes. And so just out of the gate, we want to let our you guys know that we take pride in the art. These were genuinely crafted, handmade, a lot of attention to detail. And in our minds, I think they're quite beautiful. Next thing, which I kind of hinted at, real world events and meetups. We did a big launch party in New York City. Several of us are on way to Miami. We're hosting a big event with Gutter Cat Gang, Zed, Knights of Degen, Curio, and our sister brand House of First. We've already held events or will be holding events in the cities referenced here, some big, some small. And again, that's really important. Candidly, tied to coronavirus, I think we'd even want to do more than what we've done so far. We've just been respectful that certain travel has been limited and people are a little less comfortable kind of meeting each other. But our future is absolutely about getting together, real world opportunities, be that Vegas, be that New York, be that London, and building those meaningful personal relationships. Tied to that, we have some really great giveaways. We're in the middle of something we call our 100 days of giving. We're offering as a membership or a loyalty reward $1,000 a day in different shapes or form. And so we have a couple more weeks left of that. We also have this really great opportunity for sporting and event packages where we're giving away on a weekly basis, kind of your choice, so to speak, of one of these different ticket packages. And we recently announced actually Super Bowl tickets, which is really great for our community. And then lastly, I briefly mentioned this idea of our Royal Treasury. We have a sister brand called House of First, which is actually launching next week, which is exciting. Going back to the idea of financial success, the ability to kind of grow and increase our treasury. We've committed that 10% of all primary and secondary sales from our sister brand will go into the treasury for life. And here's just a couple cards from our own treasury. Happened that we got one of our jokers. We have 16 jokers in our community. Our last joker sale was 70 ETH. So we've publicly stated that we'll, in some shape or form, do a giveaway or otherwise take the joker that the community wallet has and turn that into a membership benefit. Being time respectful, want to keep this kind of under 10 minutes. A couple of our links in terms of kind of where and how to find us, be that OpenSea, Twitter, Discord, our own website, et cetera. And so that's kind of us, a social community. Obviously, a lot of people who like cards, like playing games, like engaging with each other, real world benefits. I think it's something that as the future unfolds, people are going to be more and more excited about opportunities to take these, JPEG quote NFTs, walk into different environments and make sure that we really get some of those real world benefits. And we have a bunch of exciting things that will be coming ahead in the year 2022. So we, a couple weeks ago, we hosted a big event during NFT NYC. I am New York City based, so that was personally convenient that the world came to us for a couple days. This week in Miami, something called Art Basel Miami or Miami Art Week. The first 2 days are going to be more crypto NFT based, and then the event switches to being more of a traditional kind of art based conference. We've partnered with a friend of ours at Gutter Cat Gang. I'm imagining people might be familiar with that brand. They rented out a studio for 3 days, which is amazing. It's a big space, 14,000 square feet. What we wanted to do is create a smaller subset kind of VIP event for our community alongside that of a couple of our community friends. Zed, which is digital horse racing, some of you may be familiar with, Knights of DJ and Curio, et cetera. And so it is kind of maybe a calm moment inside of a larger party. There's a DJ, the actual larger event runs until midnight. There's a lot of activations, installations, art, giveaway, et cetera. Our thing will be this Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. A couple hundred people. We're using the outdoor patio, outdoor space. And it's basically a happy hour. There are certainly elements of networking, but a lot of it is catching up with people. Going back to one of our core premises, we identify each other and recognize each other with our Discord names or our Twitter names. But I think as the world unfolds and as these NFT communities get stronger and stronger, I hope people want to break bread with each other, kind of raise a glass, toast with each other, go to a sports game, go for a walk, a hike, et cetera. And we're very much excited about creating real world opportunities to meet. Miami Art Week, has people flying in from all over the country and all over the world. And so we're offering that central hub, that central opportunity for folks to get together. And so there'll be some kind of fun activations on site. But really, to me, the opportunity is to see old friends in person and, where appropriate, meet new friends, people that perhaps you've been on Discord with or kind of in various communities. But I personally think there's nothing like, shaking someone's hand, getting a bite to eat, getting a drink. And as we see the NFT community that, give or take, was born in 2021, but we want to do some forward casting as to what the next years look like. I think the role of convening, the role of in-person opportunities, the ability to really strengthen trust and relationships will wind up being one of the key determinants of success for our community, but truly for a lot of these other communities.
Yeah, 100%. And I think just bringing in the real world kind of and meeting these people that you build so much with over the internet, I think the value can't really be stated there, especially when you have a big reason for people to come out to events and everyone is like-minded. To jump to a question here, actually, Andrew has from our team. Do you guys have any partnerships with WSOP players? Is that something you're looking to do in the future? And if so, is there anybody?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have multiple poker pros in our community. Chris Moneymaker is probably the largest and best known, but we actually have a couple others, not all of which are public, so I won't dox them, but I think we have between 4 and 6 WSOP bracelets in our community so far. Poker is a big part of what we do. Obviously, the idea of poker cards, we have some gamification with the ability to collect certain hands. So we have a Discord role for Royal Flush, which is kind of the eponymous reason we were named. Royal Society takes its name from kind of the Royal Flush. There are certain targeted giveaways and rewards for people that collect kind of more advanced hands and or more advanced cards. One of the things that we're also known for is we have a lot of these collab poker tournaments. Understandable that a lot of communities may seek utility, may seek engagement, may seek that first pill of ours, that fun. And so we've had collab poker tournaments with bulls and bears and cats, and we have, I think, 4 in the next 3 weeks, all free for NFT holders with typical kind of reward pool, top 9 finishers between half an ETH and an ETH, and we've done a few tournaments that have even more than that. So just a nice benefit of being in our community, a nice benefit of being in some of our kind of partner communities, and teasing out something that you will see more and more from us going forward. But we really imagine a future where we'll do something called kind of the MSOP, the Metaverse series of poker, brought to you, quote unquote, by Royal Society of Players, kind of RSOP. So a little bit of a pun, where the MSOP, the Metaverse series of poker, will be kind of encompassing of a number of other NFT communities, really something that binds and kind of builds some of that camaraderie. Many of us have profile pictures, again, be that an ape or something else, a punk or who knows what. But I think it'd be really fun to play for your team, play for your squad. Obviously, many of us are representing more than one squad, but offer some kind of buzz inside the Discords. Our squad came in first and second and third. Hey, I'm out, but there's still 2 more people from my community playing. Rah, rah, I'm going to cheer them on. We use Twitch. We live stream. We have a couple poker professionals who do the voiceover. So it feels like watching kind of ESPN when you watch our Twitch and kind of see the live play-by-play, which is great. So that's just kind of a component of what we do, but a super exciting one. Obviously, for people who are passionate about cards, that's great. But I do want to identify and recognize that we are more than just poker. We, as you mentioned, have these ideas of family game nights where we get together. Our next one will actually be trivia based, so a different departure. And then usually we offer some prizes, again, be that ETH or NFTs or something, just to keep things lively. And so that's this idea of, again, fun, entertainment, engagement, but a little bit of rewards for people who are kind of, again, looking for something to do, looking for something social, looking for a way to engage and meet people. And going back to what we said, that dual key of metaverse and real world. Imagine you play with someone poker online for a few weeks, then you finally have a chance to meet them in Vegas or Miami or New York or London. It just adds to that idea of, a social club, a social community. We really want to be one of the strongest and tightest knit, and have a number of things we're doing that will invest in the success of both our poker sub community, but our larger communities as well.
Yeah, and I think that was incredibly well put, Zeev, and kind of displays this bridge you guys are trying to link between real world metaverse and getting it all done with NFTs and really making a real community that people can rely on, meet people, and it's just incredibly important there. I have some other questions. You've sort of addressed a few of these, I think, but I think it'll be nice to just address them specifically again for these users. So someone is Rissa is asking, what will you guys do if the NFT trend is not maintained in the future? Is there an alternative, and what do you want the community to know about your NFT products? I think you touched on that last question there, but the first question, I think this maybe revolves around sort of the real world and community aspects, even maybe the DAO. So if you just want to touch on those a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to that. So one thing that we had always imagined doing up front, we paused it just for a second, but we'll introduce it soon. It's 100% on our roadmap, and it's an easy one. We have a Twitter channel. A lot of people do, ape follow ape, royals follow royal. We're going to do a LinkedIn channel. And I know that that's a little unexpected. I have a lot of respect for the crypto community, typically coming in anonymous or pseudonymous. One of our tenets at Royal Society is opportunity, not obligation. But a lot of our members are doxxed or willing to dox or willing to share who they are. And the idea, an opportunity to build professional relationships, again, a LinkedIn network. Imagine for a moment 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000 people, all are willing to follow each other and connect with each other on LinkedIn. And imagine you're traveling to Istanbul and you suddenly realize there's a couple local members, or imagine you're looking for a job or you're trying to do a business deal and you realize that someone works at Starbucks or someone has a relationship with a contact you're hoping for, and you're able to reach out and say, hey, we're both part of Royal Society, would you do me a favor? And I'm not saying that's going to be a guarantee or not, but if you ask me about what success looks like, we've now broken well beyond the boundary of, again, a JPEG and NFT and built this real world tangible community. And I know I keep reinforcing that. If you ask me, that's what our long-term success is. That's why we get a lot of other communities come to us, something that hasn't fully come up yet. Landmark, kind of the company that I come from and others come from, we have an 18-person events department. We do 200 events a year. We do it for Fortune 500 companies, athletes, celebrities, et cetera, et cetera. And so we just have this expertise and skill in building connections, engaging people. And to me, that transcends any kind of NFT moment. So NFT summer, NFT winter, NFT fall, NFT spring, all human beings, presumably outside of a corona world. We're traveling, we have professional interests, we have personal interests. I think those bonds are tight no matter what. And I think survives any immediate, quote, price impact in terms of, the growth or slowdown of NFT, floor movements or whatever it is.
Yeah, awesome. Just moving forward here, someone else is asking if there's, we've just been touching on the utility of the sort of Royal Society of Players NFTs. for this whole presentation. But moving in, I think this person is looking towards a little bit more maybe DeFi mechanics. I know maybe you mentioned potentially having a token coming out. Did you want to touch on that? Their specific question is, does your NFT have utility like staking, earning, and more? So more on like the crypto DeFi aspects of things.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we we introduced in our Discord that we are looking at it. Without getting too heavily into this, I think there's a lot of ways that one can do the DeFi elements wrong. Again, I'm New York City based. I'm fully doxxed, and I just want to make sure that when we do it in the absolute most compliant way possible. And so we have actually two different law firms that we've retained and engaged. We're going to absolutely introduce token, which will come in with some tokenomics and some kind of DeFi elements. We've teased that in our community and have absolutely stated as our direction. I personally think, and going back to a comment I mentioned with a 20-year vision, I don't want to rush and make a mistake and kind of try to do something this week where by chance we did it wrong or we didn't do it in the absolute best and most compliant way, and a year from now we're kicking ourselves. And so we're just taking maybe a little bit more time than where I would wish. I have that same aspiration of let's move fast, but we're going to do it right, and it's absolutely part of our future.
Yeah, and I think that's an incredible way to do it. It looks like you guys have already had incredible success with the NFTs, and I think that's important not to rush it. Especially, we share some of those similar thoughts here, being U.S. based as well. So making sure that when we do things, we do aim for compliance and try our best on that front. So it definitely seems like you guys are fairly successful so far, and there's no need to rush it. But it is nice to know for users that are looking into that you guys do have that outlet. I do have a last question here. I'm not quite sure what's going on, so maybe you can shed a little bit more light. What are the guarantees to which a user must submit for interchangeable NFT features? Is it important to design these terms as closely as possible to the security of both parties involved? I don't know if this is a question you're able to address.
I'm not sure I understood that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries about that, Wilhelmia. Sorry we weren't able to answer that. Maybe you can jump into the Twitter or Discord for RSOP, and if you reword it, they may be able to help you. I am going to be closing this up here. Zeev, I really appreciate you jumping on, presenting. I think you did an amazing job of outlining what Royal Society of Players is. And more specifically, I think even though you did an amazing job, the kind of value that a well-knitted community creates is amazing. And it sounds like the team that you guys have is looking to exactly do that. And you guys have already started to do it. So I'm excited to see what's coming in the future for you guys.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you to our audience for taking a few moments to listen. If anyone has questions, we're happy to kind of address them. Feel free to join us in any of our Discords. And again, thank you to the rest of our speakers. I'll stay on. I'm looking forward to hearing from them as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve.